What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to the TV Toycast YouTube channel, and today we are unboxing from Hasttel Toy in the Grapplers and Gimmicks line. It is one of our favorite announcers, one of my favorites, and probably one of yours as well, the one and only Sean Mooney. The voice of the late 80s, right? Late 80s, early 90s, this guy was on every Saturday morning show. He was always doing like live correspondence in the arena at the big events. It was Sean Mooney, man. That's the guy I grew up listening to almost all the time. And I feel like when he kind of moved on, that's when Todd Pittengill came along. And he, of course, we've had a Todd Pittengill from Zombie Sailor Toys. All really cool. I think a lot of these guys are huge misses for the Hasbro line. I feel like maybe if we had gotten them back then, they might have been peg warmers. But now I'm like, these are amazing. And I'm so happy to get them. So Sean Mooney, I've actually met before. Super nice guy. Seems to just love the fact that he was a part of the WWE for a time. And so happy that Mitch is righting these wrongs in the Hasbro line. Mitch has got a lot of great stuff over there happening at Grapplers and Gimmicks, including some upcoming 6-inch scale figures. How cool would a 6-inch scale Sean Mooney be? I don't know if that's on the horizon, but boy, that would be really cool to go with your elite style figures. Of course, awesome packaging here. To me, the closest packaging to the original Hasbro's. We got the G for the Grapplers and Gimmicks, and of course, official Grapplers and Gimmicks. We got the artist rendering of Sean Mooney there. Real vintage style figure with Mooney salt. I always think those are fun. Kind of throwing something in there fun. Of course, Sean Mooney, officially, what does that say? Officially licensed product. Hasttel Toy in collectibles. Very, very cool. It's got a microphone there in case you didn't notice. So perfect for Sean Mooney. So look at the G there on the jacket. A lot of people not necessarily a fan of that. I personally like it. I know some people would rather it be blank or say WWF. Obviously, you can't do WWF, but I think this is better than being blank. Mitch has taken some crap for his packaging in the past. I personally don't get that. I think this looks great. I think the artist picture maybe could be better, but overall, I don't hate it at all. I think it looks great. So this, to me, looks like Hasbro. Feels like Hasbro. Very secure card. I have no complaints there. On the back, of course, we got the artist rendering of Sean Mooney and kind of what he'll look like. And then a pretty decent roster here. Sean Mooney, Pierre Cara-Olette, Jacques Rougeau, Coco Ware. I do wish we had more of the roster, because he's released a lot of figures, so only seeing 4 I feel like is a little misleading there. Of course, you can buy these over at HastelToy.com, GrapplersandGimmicks.com. I believe Sean Mooney is still available, last I looked. I'll put that up here if it is. Of course, we got the rundown of everyone kind of working on all the different stuff. A lot of people involved in this. Very, very cool stuff. Of course, the QR code there. But I would say most people that are watching this are familiar with all these different retro companies. And like I said, I could see this not being everybody's cup of tea. And retro fatigue is definitely real because so many people are doing it. But you know, Mitch is hitting you in the feels almost weekly. We last one we unboxed was Waylon Mercy a little while back. And then, of course, this one, we also recently unboxed Sensational Sherry from Mitch, and also another guy I got right here, if I can find it. Here it is, right here. How about this guy? How about Kurt Fuller from No Holds Barred? Would go great with your Rip and Zeus, wouldn't it? And I think that's a really good likeness. Great, great figure. So you see a lot of reuse from this figure to the other one. Looks like, in fact, his hands are actually just reversed from Sean Mooney, but overall, why not? Make the most out of your molds. I think when it works, it works. And I think that's awesome. So excited to dive into this. Going to give it the old open up. And it's definitely on there tight. There we go. Get Sean Mooney free from that dreadful package. Every time I do this, I feel like Jeff Toon over there, fully posable, has like a miniature panic attack. Might be a regular size panic attack. I don't even know anymore. But hey, I'm a big believer in you got to open your figures. I know some people like them mint on card, and I think that's great. I really do, because I'm a big believer in you got to do what makes you happy. Opening a figure makes me happy. It makes me feel like I did when I was a kid, and so I will always open my figures. Microphone slides in his hand. A little loose in the hand, not bad, but it still stays in place there, so I think if you moved it quick, it might, if you dropped it all the way down, it might fall out, but as long as you keep it right here, like he would be holding it, sits in there just fine. Sean Mooney, coming at you live from from the, what do they call it, the control room. Isn't that where he was with all the monitors playing behind him? Got waist articulation, of course. Hasttel toy on the boot, made in China, 2024. I feel like head sculpt wise, that's Sean Mooney all day. I mean, I don't know if I didn't know who he was, I'd be able to tell, but I think looking at this, I think that's pretty solid. The paint work on here looks great. Like I said, I love that. I also feel like with this on there, you could probably rub that off if you didn't want it. I'm not going to try personally, but I feel like you might be able to. So if that's a holdback for you, that's worth looking into. Of course, this is a suited figure. It's not the most dynamic figure, as I toss the microphone aside there. But it's perfect. It's perfect to represent who Sean Mooney was. And I lost the microphone again. So like I said, that hand could be a little tighter maybe. But again, these are probably not things we're playing with, right? Some of you might be, or doing figure photography, but just gonna hold it in there. I think that looks perfectly fine. One and only Sean Mooney. Funny story. I had the opportunity to meet an announcer one time, and I was told, "Hey, it's one of the announcers from the '90s." And I was like, "Oh, Todd Pittengill." And they're like, "No," and I'm like, "Sean Mooney." They're like, "Yes." And I was like, "Oh man, that's so cool." Just because, like I said, we grew up with these guys. In fact, Sean Mooney had a podcast a few years ago called Prime Time with Sean Mooney. And I think initially it was like Prime Time with Hacksaw and Sean Mooney, where they were kind of reliving old moments. And I've always enjoyed podcasts like that more so than with a guest. It may be different. Everyone is a little different on that. But I know Bruce Pritchard did that Something to Wrestle With podcast where, as opposed to having guests, they were like, we'll do a deep dive into a topic. And that got very popular for a while, where we'll talk about Dusty Rhodes' run in the WWF or the Lex Express run in 1993. And that, because Bruce was there for a lot of that stuff. And it became very, very entertaining and was very popular for several years there. And Sean Mooney, I think, was trying to capitalize on that popularity into his own podcast, which I thought was great. It was a big-time listener for me. Love listening to that Sean Mooney Primetime podcast. So maybe it'll come back at some point. Who knows? But, yeah, definitely cool to have Sean Mooney in the Hasbro line. Like I said, I know, obviously, Bobby Heenan, Mean Gene Okerlund, Gorilla Monsoon, a lot of these guys would have been great in the original Hasbro line, but I think Hasbro was focusing a little bit more on, specifically the wrestlers and thinking, well, I don't know if these guys would sell. I always thought Hasbro should have done, something like The Ring with Howard Finkel, right? Because he's the ring announcer. That makes sense. The interview stage with Mean Gene Okerlund. The control room with Sean Mooney. The backstage interview area with maybe Sean Mooney again or Mean Gene Okerlund or someone. Because that would have been a way to get accessories out there a little bit. Not for everybody, of course, but I think LJN did a good job because they kind of wanted that complete experience. They wanted you to have the complete WWF experience. So you need the managers, you need the referee, you need the announcers, you need all of that. And I'll be honest, I played the crap out of that Mean Gene figure in my LJN collection. He interviewed all the big stars. That was kind of, Bobby Heenan always was accompanying the bad guys to the ring. Same with Jimmy Hart. So there was always something fun about that. So I think Hasbro did miss the boat there, but I also can see their trepidation thinking, well, maybe these characters wouldn't sell as well. And that probably is true. But you know what? It's almost like they knew, and they knew a guy named Mitch would pick up the slack in 2024 and 2025. And not just Mitch, a lot of other people are doing well too. In fact, I'll throw it over to Epic Toys. They did a good job with this one because we got a Bobby the Brain Heenan. I unboxed this probably a month or two ago on the channel, a Bobby Heenan retro, which is excellent. And of course, like I mentioned, Zombie Sailor as well. He did the Todd Pittengill from a while back, which is a great one as well. So we're getting a lot of those Hasbro figures we probably never would have expected to get there. They are starting to show up in all of our collections, which I do think is really cool. But let me know, what do you guys think? Is this something you'd like to pick up? Is this a figure you're not interested in at all? Like, are you not into retros? Like, there's a lot of different theories on everything. Some people are completely over the retros. It's not something they're into, and I completely understand that as well. Because I always say this, and I always say it on every episode or podcast, probably at least once, you got to find your joy. And if you're buying something that you're not into, it's probably not going to last. So buy stuff you like, collect stuff that you like, and have fun with it, because we all have a budget, whatever that might be. Some is probably bigger than others, but we all have a budget, and we all have to work within that budget. So buy what you like, and just, enjoy it, have fun with it, and display it proudly, because that's what this is all about. That's what this hobby is all about. But of course, thank you guys for checking out the TB Toycast YouTube channel. Check out other videos on the channel. A lot of unboxings. Just last week, I unboxed from the Batman the Animated Series line Two-Face. That was really cool. And then also recently, Star Wars The Black Series Dengar was unboxed. Stunning Steve Austin from the Mattel Elite line was recently unboxed. And how about a throwback? I also recently unboxed from the Heels and Faces line Big Bully Busick. Check that out as well. Also check out What's on the Pegs. Literally check out what I'm finding out there, from different retail stores to vintage toy stores. Always finding new stuff, and it's always a lot of fun. So check out What's on the Pegs. Several episodes up on the channel as we speak. And also, of course, check out Tales of the Toy Box. 2 episodes currently up, with more to come every single month on all your absolute favorite toy lines. So check those out. And then, of course, check out HastelToy.com. And check out all the figures Mitch is doing. He's doing a lot of great figures. Follow him on Instagram to see all the updates of everything new he's got coming up. He's got so many good figures that I can't wait for the rest of them to be released. It's going to be so much fun. I know as of right now, Santa Claus I have on pre-order. I have the Brain Busters and the new Rockers on pre-order. I just pre-ordered Jake the Snake Roberts. That's currently up as well. And I also pre-ordered Rhino and Al Snow. So a lot of good grapplers coming up, plus a box of stuff I haven't unboxed yet. So a lot more coming up there from Mitch over at Hasttel Toy, the hustle man himself. But anyway, that's all I got. Also, the TV Toycast podcast, I've got to forget that. Check that out every Thursday with me and Travis. We have a different main event where we're covering a classic toy line, plus all the news and happenings of the toy world for that particular week. So check that out every Thursday, wherever you get your podcast. And of course, when we hit 100 subscribers on this channel, there will be a giveaway. So you want to support the channel? Share it. Let people know. And hopefully they all enjoy it as well, and they decided to subscribe and check out other videos. So let's get there. Let's get some free stuff given away. Should be a lot of fun. That's it. That's all I got. Thank you guys for checking out the TB Toycast YouTube channel. That's Sean Mooney from the control room, and we will see you in the toy aisle.
Yeah. One more time. It ain't over till I say it's over. So lock the cage up, cause this is a takeover. The wait's over. If this the final time we meet, then you'll be on your back on my feet. Then I'll tip the cage over as a hangover. I'm super fly so I can splash off the top. And I can shut down the shot.